Russia, the largest country in the world, covers a vast expanse of areas from Eastern Europe to Northern Asia, spanning an incredible 17 million square kilometers. Russia has now become a powerful political, economic, and social entity in our modern world. The history of Russia traced back to the history of the people called Slavs. In 862, the first East Slavic state, known as the Rus state, was founded and led by Viking Oleg of Novgorod, in the area between the Volga and Dnieper river basins. In 882, it captured Kiev, uniting the northern and southern lands of the Eastern Slavs under one authority. In 1998, Christianity was introduced in the Rus state from the Orthodox Christian Byzantine Empire by Prince Vladimir I. His son, Yaroslav the Wise, who ruled the state from 1019 to death, introduced the first code of law, Ruskia Pravada. Under his reign, Kiev then soon became the center of politics and culture in Eastern Europe. From Grand Duchy of Moscow to the Russian Empire, 1283 to 1917. In the 13th century, the Mongols invaded Kievan Rus and established the Golden Horde, with the Rus's principalities as their vassals. In 1480, Moscow gained its independence from Mongol rule, forming the Grand Duchy of Moscow or Muscovy. In 1547, Ivan IV, or Ivan the Terrible, became the first Tsar, Emperor of Russia, transforming the Grand Duchy of Moscow into the Tsardom of Russia, with Moscow as the predominant state. From 1551 to 1700, Russia grew by 35,000 square kilometers per year and was transformed into the Russian Empire in 1721 under the reign of Peter the Great, with St. Petersburg as the new capital. The next century witnessed the expansion of the empire, stretching over 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and North America. In 1914, Russia entered World War I on the side of the Allied powers, including Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Japan, and the United States, against the Central Powers, including German, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman, and Bulgaria. The rise and fall of the Soviet Union, 1922 to 1991. The Russian Revolution in 1917 ended the Russian imperial rule, resulting in the formation of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic. The Russian Civil War broke out later that year and ended in 1923 with the establishment of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, the Soviet Union. The capital was moved from St. Petersburg to Moscow. Vladimir Lenin ruled the Soviet Union until his death in 1924, when Joseph Stalin came to power. Under the rule of Stalin, the country was transformed from a peasant society to a military and industrial power. On September 1, 1939, World War II broke out between the Allied and Axis powers. As part of a non-aggression with Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union invaded and annexed the eastern regions of Poland, followed by its annexation of Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Romania. In June 1941, Germany launched Operation Barbarossa against the Soviet Union. In response to this, the Soviets joined the Allies in the war against Germany. On May 8, 1945, after the fall of Berlin to Soviet troops and Hitler's suicide, Germany surrendered unconditionally, marking the end of the war in Europe. After Japan's surrender on September 2, 1945, World War II ended with a total victory for the Allies. Following the war, the Soviet Union formed various Soviet satellite states and emerged as a superpower and rival to the United States in the nearly half-century-long Cold War. After Stalin's death in 1953, Nikita Khrushchev, embarking on a policy of de-Stalinization. Under his rule, the Soviet Union grew rapidly, with the world's first human-made satellite and the first human into space. In 1980, the Summer Olympics were held in Moscow. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became the Soviet leader and was later elected president in 1990. In the same year, he won the Nobel Peace Prize for bringing the Cold War to a peaceful end. In December 1991, following a failed Communist Party coup against Gorbachev, the Soviet Union was dissolved and Gorbachev resigned. Russian Federation, 1991 to present. Following the dissolution, all of the Soviet republics emerged as fully independent post-Soviet states. Among these, Russia, or the Russian Federation, became known as the Soviet Union's primary de facto internationally recognized successor state. Boris Yeltsin was the first elected president of Russia. In 2000, Vladimir Putin, a former KGB officer, was elected president. He was then re-elected in 2012 and served till now. In 2014, following the Ukrainian Revolution, war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. In 2018, the FIFA World Cup was hosted in Russia. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, escalating the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian War. This led to international sanctions being imposed against Russia. In March, Russia was expelled from the Council of Europe and suspended from the United Nations Human Rights Council in April.
Thanks for watching. If you find this information useful,